Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired of the brain on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.
Peace and blessings to the good people. Happy hump day. How's everybody feeling? Well, I hope. We got a serious one for you this morning. Thought it was time to switch it over to a matter that affects women specifically, but children as well. Before we go there, I got Coach in the building. Shout outs to my writers, poets, content creators, rappers, singers, all that. Much love to the chat. Thank y'all for being here. Do me a solid, like, share, repost, let the people know that we are on. This might be for you. This might be for a family member, a friend. I got a clip I want y'all to pay close attention to. There's just one of many that's come out, but let me bring Coach up here real quick. Grand Rising.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm simpatico, man. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Trying to stay warm out here. Getting cold out here. These temperatures are dropping.
Yeah. This is a big one, man. I don't know if we have enough conversations about this one in particular. Human trafficking in general, man. I know we use these platforms to cover various things, but I think this should be on the top list. Now, I sent you the clip earlier. I'm gonna play it for the rest of the people, but before I even play the clip, man, just in general, how do you feel about the severity? How do you feel about the fact that this is actually a real market? From your perspective, in general, how do you see this human trafficking thing going, man?
Man, it's yeah, like you said, it's alarming. There's actually a real market, but I mean, again, it's something that's highly publicized outside of the United States, man. I think it's something that we have so much going on in America that's probably one of the things that's at the lowest of the totem poles. Just getting a lot of limelight now because of the situation with Puffy, and Harvey Weinstein and a few other individuals. But it comes to light and then it gets shunned and pushed underneath the table. It's not something that tends to stay in the limelight for a long time, so people can actually get educated and on the lookout on how these little things like this video, great video by the way, how these things happen.
Statistics for 2025 show a rise in human trafficking for forced labor and other purposes like forced criminality, with these types of exploitation growing significantly. Reports indicate organized criminal networks are behind 74% of detected cases, and forced labor is now the most common form of exploitation at 42% of detected victims, surpassing sex trafficking. Worldwide estimates suggest around 27.6 million people are victims, with forced labor victims being more often male. I didn't know that. While sex trafficking victims are predominantly female. Global statistics, overall victim estimate, the UN estimates that around 27.6 million people are victims of human trafficking worldwide. I'm just reading just a little bit of this. I'll skip some of that and I'll just give you one more portion. Forced labor, 67% male, 33% females. Sex trafficking, 78% female, 22% male. Children account for 8% of all victims, a decrease from previous years. That's crazy.
Yeah, not so much. Again, because some of the things that people like to take pleasures in, that's how some of those people wind up in those markets. You know what I mean? By being abducted, like we talked about, constantly rewiring their brains and putting them in situations where they have to, possibly work off some things, or putting them in situations outside of the U.S., working in different countries, and that's all they know because they get them at a young age. You know what I mean? We don't talk about it enough here in America, but we can get to it, man. Once you play the video.
And with that being said, let me bring this up on a big screen. Michelle Campbell, good morning to you. I hope all is well. Let's go ahead and run this real quick.
Traffickers are doing something new. They're making or ordering fake traffic tickets to put on your car. Yes, they're making fake traffic tickets to put on your car. If you see a traffic ticket on your car, don't even take it off. Wait till you drive to wherever you're going to take it off your car. Because that's another way traffickers mark what car they're going to follow and who they're going to follow, if you're a man or if you're a woman. So if you see a ticket on your car, you come out of Walmart or parked on the street, make sure you don't take it off, because if you do take it off, that gives enough time for the trafficker to either get in that car to follow you or to run up on you. God bless.
Interesting enough, that's just one version of it. There's many versions of it. And another one that I want to point out is the shopping cart method, where they will take a shopping cart and they will intentionally put it behind your car. When you come out the store, then you get ready to back out, because most people just pull in, they don't reverse. it forces you to get out of the car to move the cart. Meanwhile, there's 2 or 3 different cars positioned, monitoring, waiting for you to go move it, and then they snatch you from there. And then I seen another one where they put something in your door, like in the handle part of it. All of it is really just a distraction tactic. As soon as your guard is down, then they come for you. I can't tell you how many different stories I done seen in like the last few days of just different things that they do. One woman was even getting followed inside of the store, but she caught on to what was going on and she got up out of there. But yeah, that's that clip. What's your take though?
Man, I think it's again, like everything else, man, you got to start with yourself and accountability, because those tactics, but also the simple ones that people put on their cars, like the silhouettes of how many people are in their household. You know, it could be a single mom on the back of the minivan. It's got 2 kids and a dog, right? So that's essentially saying that, you know, that's a single parent. So now they can identify you that way. Personalized license plates. A lot of the women now are using pink license plates. You know what I mean? Kind of personalized. So that kind of makes them a target as well, without even having the tracker put on there. Because now that, one, you're identified as being the female, and 2, you got the personalized plates. Now we see you coming and going every time you're going somewhere. So, you know, other than those ways of trying to set people up, people got to be more mindful of how they're setting themselves up, just by advertising on their vehicles, if that makes any sense. So starting there and then learning about the other ways that you can personally be entrapped by gimmicks of, you know, like you said, shopping carts and tickets and stuff being placed on cars. Because it's been happening for a while. You know, like you said, there's thousands of videos that are out there, but being more aware of your surroundings. You know, if something's out of place and it doesn't feel right, you know, keep it moving. You know what I mean? Don't stop. Don't be inquisitive. Get to your destination, and don't deviate from those plans any more than you have to.
Knowing the numbers, I wonder sometimes, are these people that's making a living off of this targeting a specific demographic? Is there a certain location that they just go to specifically, like, all right, if I'm a grocery shopper and I'm going for produce, I'm going to get apples, oranges, whatever. I need to make sure which ones are the ripest, which ones are kind of outdated, so I can sort them out. I don't want to go home with salmonella or nothing like that. Are these people going in urban areas? Are they going in every location? Are they going in impoverished areas, where folks are most likely not accounted for because people don't care about them? So they're just wandering the streets, or are they just wherever it seems like the odds of them successfully pulling off these type of jobs would kind of take them over here more versus the other?
I think it depends on what the objective is. You know, obviously, if people going into the grocery stores, you think about the frame of mind of somebody going into the grocery store. So what's your target? Is somebody, you know, obviously they have a bunch of things going on. Like you just said, you're worried about produce. You know, you're worried about getting in, getting out. If you went just after work, you're probably still thinking about some stuff from work, not really necessarily paying attention. So something like you said, putting a shopping cart behind somebody's car, they're not thinking about completely, you know, in tune with what's going on with their surroundings. So if that's an easy mark or easy target, then that'll probably be a location that you go to. Again, depending on what you're looking for, what you're scouting, what you're probing. If you like you mentioned about different communities, it depends on what's in that community that we're looking for. Whether it be from a bunch of kids that drive Chargers, or a bunch of things you want to take off of F-150s. It just depends on what your objective and what your goal is. If you following somebody in the corporate world, again, what's your objective? You're going to go to whatever that population is of the people that have the items that you're looking for. Just like the skimmers on the gas stations, is there certain places, you can find those tags all over the place versus in some other areas you can't. You know what I mean? Some places you got ATMs, and then you also have now the Bitcoin machines. They're saying that they have those in a lot of the urban areas. Not a lot of urban areas are considered to be places where people are going to have, access to Bitcoin and those type of things, but you still have those in those areas. So again, it just depends on what the objective is.
It makes sense. We got to adapt. And then if you thinking like them, it's no different than trying to reach your audience. But you sit in a meeting and you have somebody giving a presentation, they have their bullet points and they have their little marker, and they're trying to sell you on why this would work. They're doing the same thing with people, which is wild. Earlier this year, I covered a story. I can't remember what country this was, but what they were doing is they're doing this, right? And the way that they are, can I use the word? They're auctioning off people via a specific website, allegedly. I mean, put it out there, allegedly. And under the furniture that you buy is not actually the furniture that you're buying. You're actually buying the person.
Oh yeah,
but they hide it under like couch or sofa, but it's really Sophia or Jacob or something like that. That is crazy, man. And they've been, like you said, they've been doing this for a long time. How do you get away with this so effortlessly without anybody noticing, without anyone being like aware? Look, yeah, this is really happening. Especially knowing we know all these people are missing. Most of these people are never found. Like, how do we not know what is going on around us?
Man, it's easy, man. It's like the carrot and stick. I mean, one is a lot of people don't. You would have to have a vivid imagination to understand the things that are going on, even though they put them in the movies and you see it and you take it for entertainment purposes. But you would have to be interested in it. You would have to actually want to know more information to learn about it. And then what you gonna do with the information once you get it? You know what I'm saying? At that particular point, you should be trying to share that information or, expound upon it. But everybody's not interested in it. And, a lot of people are more or less, if it's not happening to me, then they completely ignorant to the situation. So that's a lot of it. Again, people worrying about themselves in that aspect, not how we've been talking about in the positive mainframe as far as, with keeping a positive mindset, taking care of your mental health and all that stuff. People just, if it ain't happening to me, I ain't really worried about it.
Yeah, that's wild as hell. What planet do y'all think y'all live on? I be really feeling like I'm the only one that's like, okay, yeah, don't go down the alley. Why are you still walking down alleys knowing that this happened here? Why are you walking or letting your kids come home and to school by themselves at 9 years old and all that? Y'all, what am I missing here? You really that desensitized to reality?
I think it's resources, and then you have it's resources and it's education and mindset, because you'll have people to say we were latchkey kids. You know what I mean? We had crime and all those other things when we were growing up, and we found a way to figure it out. So a lot of times when I say resources and education, is people keep referring back to that when I was a kid mentality, and not realizing, in 2025, you probably didn't raise your kids necessarily to go through the things that what you went through, and you probably don't want to rehash all those traumas that you went through, that you are now glorifying and saying this made you the person who you are today. You know what I mean? Which it did. It built resilience. It built all those different things. But we look at the good things versus the not necessarily the bad things that also might have came along with it. Again, duality. So you learn some good things from those traumas, as well as some bad things, and necessarily you're not passing those things down, to your kids, or you have to work. And then that's the only way for them to get to and from, because again, that whole concept of a village, maybe formulating a team in the neighborhood, and somebody maybe rotating and picking up the group of kids, providing a solution, obviously, for you saying if the 9-year-old was walking home by themselves. But I don't think necessarily people are thinking like that. It's just, hey, my household, I'll figure it out, in our communities anyway, because I can see in other communities, they're actually utilizing things like the Nextdoor app, actually putting on their things from their Ring camera, as far as for the things that's going on in the neighborhood. So it's just, again, a mindset thing, education thing, as far as for how you want to go and police your neighborhoods.
Real talk. When Halloween came around, I made a post, and people got angry because they said, "Oh, you're crazy. You're just believing everything that you hear." But the video came from a reliable source, and it said specifically to be careful with the candy that you're giving out to these kids, because they are putting fentanyl in some of this stuff.
Right.
Now, a simple Google search would have corrected your curiosity for the truth, but instead you're just quick to say, "Oh, it's a lie." But listen and look at where we're at right now. Why would it even? Let's just say you didn't bother to do the research yourself. Why is it so far-fetched to believe that somebody would actually do that? They're putting chips in people's bodies. They're monitoring everything that we're doing on social media, damn near. It's about to be a point to where you can't even do nothing without digital ID. They're trying to get everybody with that shit. They put stuff in the. Why would it be so difficult to believe that they would do that to a child? They just shot up a birthday party, killed a 14-year-old and a fucking 8-year-old. The things that humans are capable of doing should never be limited to your based opinion. I don't put nothing past a single human being on this earth, especially when it comes to money and you trying to make a living, or you have like a lifestyle that is just based on your own carnal desires and needs and stuff like that. I don't put nothing past no human being. So how and why would you even think that would be a lie at all?
A lot of it's chopped up to people's experiences, man. Again, you don't know what you don't know, and a lot of people ain't actively searching to figure out anything. It's word of mouth, 30-second clip, and that's the dangers of social media, because, like we've been talking about it over the last couple of weeks, is people having ideas, mindsets, and those algorithms start to group you together with people that have those similar ideas and mindsets. And then if you pop up the one person that's saying something different than everybody within that algorithmic group, you become the outlier. So they can go believe the 400 or 6,000 friends or followers that they have versus hearing it from one person. And so those will be the issues with surrounding yourself with of people that's all thinking alike, have like minds. That's why, again, that diversity comes into play. People that don't think like you, don't act like you, that's how you can share those experiences. You know what I'm saying? So it's real easy to do when you surround yourself with people that think like you. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that.
It's sad though. I mean, these are people's families. Their daughters, their sons. They need answers. They want help. Nobody's giving them nothing. And a part of me blames the system, the government, because like my conspiracy fetish always leads me back to everybody's in on it. There's no way you can traffic or bring drugs in from all these foreign countries for all these decades and convince me that there's not somebody over here that's not connected to the people that's bringing it here. And you've just been able to do it all this time. I look at all this like it's systemic. That's just my opinion, though. Even with the human trafficking stuff, I believe that is a part of a bigger picture that we don't even see. All stemming from the Epstein files and all in between. In your opinion, is this an isolated thing, or is this because from what I'm gathering, these people are like $1 billion industry. They're really making money off of this. Is this just average Joe Schmoes doing this, or is there more to this than we understand, and that's why it's so like minute in the eyes of so many people?
What's you talking about? Human trafficking itself,
I mean,
or
yeah. Like as far as I think, or I believe that this stuff is interwoven from one point to another point. I think there's people in higher positions that are responsible for what's happening here. I'm just asking to you, is this connected? Or is it just that we just have folks out here that's just regular people that's
the mastermind behind a bunch of people disappearing? Hey,
right.
man, I have no idea anything's possible. Like I said, you look at some of the places that you got here in the States. I mean, like some of the tattoo parlors, some of the massage parlors. I mean, every other week you hear about some place being busted for giving happy endings and different things like that behind there. So I mean, they can be classified as some type of workers. You go to Amsterdam, they got the red light district. It's glorified off of that nightlife, those type of activities. Germany, Frankfurt, you got the stairs. And if you ever been there or you Google it, if you know, you know. So a lot of places they got bath houses and all these different things. So, and those are all $1 billion industries, man. So I don't think if it's an average Joe Schmo that's sitting around kind of providing clientele randomly. But it's definitely something that probably more people should look into. A lot of people probably have looked into it. And then, that's probably why you don't hear so much about it, except when stuff like Harvey Weinstein that you mentioned, you hear stuff like with Puffy, like you already mentioned. So, I mean, we've all seen the movies. You know, you can use your imagination and kind of have an idea of some of the things that may or may not be going on. Look at some of these third world countries, man. You know, some of the people that's suffering over there. Should they be suffering? No, but somebody's in control of that government. Somebody's in control of the things that's going on. So definitely, it ain't just regular Joe Schmoes making these type of decisions, and whether to look into or look past or look over these things that's going on.
Let me say, I don't think you should alter your entire life and uproot it. What I am suggesting is that there's way too much happening around us on a daily basis, and we can't just pretend like it don't happen just because we want to pretend like it's not happening. Prison.
Yeah, you need to just the world we live in today. You gotta, heighten your alertness. Be more aware of your surroundings. Everybody in totality, not just women. Kids, men. It's all kind of things that's happening out here. You definitely got to keep your head on the swivel. And then that's why we're in a time frame where everybody's so individual, but it needs to transition to people starting to look out for each other. Getting accountability partners, get a battle buddy, get somebody that you can, build a small family with. Your neighbors, start building relationships, because it looks like the way things are going, you're going to need people more than you think you don't. You know what I mean? Might end up going back to the bartering system sometime here pretty soon. So you're going to need a network of people that you can go out there and, and network with it and try to build with. I think that's what people should be doing, building in real life, not necessarily online. Getting that human to human contact, that good old feeling back. The nostalgia of just having a good group of people around you, because the way times are going, man, the times are hard. And, that's what you need is a good emotional support system.
How much of social media has separated people from human contact?
I wouldn't say a lot, man, because I hear a lot of people talking bad about social media, but a lot of entrepreneurs out here, they're doing great things with social media. A lot of people are meeting up in towns and networking. A lot of people are meeting up in towns, having things like mastermind groups. People are setting up opportunities to go network and build. But you only hear about the ratchet shit that's on social media. You know what I mean? Again, with reality TV gets a bad rep because you only hear about Real Housewives and shit like that. But you got shows out there like the realtor companies, the people that's out there flipping houses. You know what I mean? That's a reality show. You got plenty of other different categories of stuff that's out there. I just think certain categories get pushed to the forefront. Negativity sells, right? You got a lot of people trying to do good things on social media. Your platform, you're trying to give good information and good content. But to counter that with all the negative stuff that's going on, so you might have one positive to 4 negatives, and the negatives is what's getting the clicks and the views. You know what I'm saying? People fighting. You got people doing spoken word on social media. That shit's not getting reposted, getting million views or followers. People cooking. You know what I'm saying? More people are more influenced to be chefs and stuff now. I think it's a lot of great things on social media, just like everything else in life. The negative shit is more entertaining, and that's what's going to get the dollars. And so that's the part of social media that we keep saying is trash. But you use it for an outlet, man, like any other resource or tool. Use it as a launching point to go meet in the real world, right? Because you can talk to people globally, which is freaking amazing. You can talk to people in different countries face to face. And you can be building a brand, and you can also set up networking opportunities to do different things. So just, what's your intention? Again, but just like everything else, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. And another thing is you're not eating at the table anymore, right? So when you get home from school, you don't have no conversations about, oh, my teacher was nice to me, or somebody said something to me in class and I didn't like it, you don't have those conversations no more. The basic just consideration of a person saying hi to you and just waving at you, and you think everybody is trying to make advances at you. The internet, some of it, not all of it, but just what they show us is making people not want to be around people. I used to watch those them shows where they would flip the houses. I used to think those was dope.
Right.
Because I thought that here maybe one day I could actually do that too. But I see how much work you gotta put in. When stuff go wrong and you gotta throw out extra money that you thought was gonna be on the budget, but you gotta take that out. Oh nah, I'm good. But it's nice to see how you figured out a way to make that work and then you get that money. Yeah, I thought that was dope. But people need to get back to being like this though.
Just having a conversation.
Yeah. Stop thinking everything is a scam or a lie. Rage baiting seems to be a thing.
Yeah.
Trolling seems to be a thing. Satire seems to be a thing. You don't know when folks are being transparent or not. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. The fact of the matter is, this stuff is real, it's happening, and I think because you don't see it happening around you, that you just automatically assume that it's not happening at all. But there's been so many different times where children have come up missing, women have come up missing. We can go back in time, and I'm sure before the day is over, my Instagram is going to show me a whole bunch of different people who done went missing, because it pick up on what we talk about and what we engage with. Mind you, we live right now, but that shit going to end up transferring over to your personal devices. Everything we talking about here is going to end up over there because why? They're watching. And I look at that and I say, shit, well, you got predators that's watching you online while you're talking. You got perverts that's probably beating off to you right now. Why? Like, you be having some real weird people tapped in off camera, on camera, in your neighborhood, next door, all type of stuff. So we take things for granted way too much, and we're too comfortable.
Yeah, so it just depends because it's all about perspective. It all boils down to, I guess, what's considered to be weird to you. You know what I mean? Because, like you just said, that's the beauty of, again, the online piece, is somebody can sit at home and be, whatever somebody considers to be weird, or be themselves and still engage, right? Versus going out in public and then somebody perhaps giving them some type of criticisms, or actually calling them weird to their face, and they don't know how to necessarily navigate that type of environment. So that's what happens, is you have people be able to sit at home and do whatever the hell they want to do and still function. And they can just pick and choose who they want to function with or where they want to put their time and effort and energy into. And so that, like you said, that's what the comfort level comes in, maybe even complacency. So it just depends, but it provides that opportunity for them to be the best version of themselves, sitting in the comforts of their own home. And so, ways to mitigate. You also mentioned, some people picking and choosing, but that's what we talked about too, is having that variety. Somebody might be at home and, engaged in some stimulus activities with themselves, but they might be, intrigued and locked in about, the comments that you're talking about. So, I mean, it's, it could just go either way. But always being open-minded at the end of the day, because you never know, out of the 45 minutes to an hour that you were talking, one thing might resonate with somebody. So just provide that option, on the platforms.
I just want people to be safe out here, be a little more cautious, a little more careful. Because things can just happen like that, and you don't really know when you walk out your door if a tree is going to fall and crash your roof in, or somebody's going to come through with stray bullets. You got to be prayed up, and you got to be constantly like alert. Like you said, there was another video. They scammed or they set up a realtor.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, like that's crazy, man. People out here starving. People out here vengeful. You don't know what folks' motivations is no more.
I don't think there is no motivation, man. I think you're just in a world full of hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. You know what I mean? A lot of people out there that's in, like you said, in bad places. So only thing you can do is try to, promote and pump positivity out into the universe, and hopefully somebody catches on. Hopefully the words resonate with somebody, and they come back the next day and keep coming back. Start affecting people those ways. Other than that, again, it just goes back to, like you said, you want people to be safe, but they got to take that responsibility. Educate yourself. If you see a trend of, if somebody's talking about some things that's going on, do your due diligence. Find out how it might can affect you or harm you, or somebody that you know. If you see something online, or talking about active shooters, call somebody. Hey, making sure they're not in that area, or just giving them a heads up. To your group chat, instead of putting those corny ass memes in there. Throw out some good information or some good tips that might be good for the day. So starting those, positive reinforcements, as far as for you're getting in a good battle rhythm as far as for getting information out there to your people. That's one to kind of go about doing it. People quick to send jokes around, send around helpful tips. Right now, how many people out there got getting their homes, their HVAC systems winterized? How many people did that before the winter time showed up? Educating your people, young future homeowners, getting that type of information, the things they have to look forward to. You know what I mean? You got kids, young kids, 18 to 24, driving cars, teaching them how to change tires, when to rotate their tires, when to get an oil change. It starts with the little things. And then as you start getting educated on things, it feels good, and you'll turn around and attend, start educating other people. So you want to talk, the air tags, talk, meet them where they're at. Talk about how putting the air tags on the suitcase, tracking people. You talk about how people put air tags in cars and they tracking people. People laugh and joke all day long when they be tracking their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whoever it is. But use those kind of conversations to talk about the threats and the real things that are going out there in the world, on how people, like the man said, putting a ticket on your car can lead to somebody tracking your whereabouts, like you mentioned, putting the grocery cart behind the car, how that can lead to these type of situations that happen. So it's almost like you're doing a safety briefing or just an education briefing, but just finding different ways to throw out, a positive message maybe throughout the day. And just start that way, man, because maybe you may inspire somebody to also do that who didn't think about it. Maybe had some good ideas, but didn't know how to disseminate that information out to the community. So those are just some tips, man, that I would say start that way. Always start by trying to provide a few solutions to a couple problems that's out there. You can't solve everything. But.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to try to do my part more to provide some of those resources. Like it might just be a regular random community post. I try to be more conscious of stuff like that. So you won't see a whole bunch of, I got dark humor. I post a lot of that, but you're going to see stuff about your health, some Black history stuff here and there. I kind of mix it up, but this is one of them things where I don't play around with it either. And if it's going to help, then I would love to be of service. And it's messed up that these are people that are doing it to their own communities. Like we're literally responsible for our own destruction. There's no way around it. It's not an alien doing it to a human, it's humans doing it. So I mean, I don't know if I would say a lot of them people are hurt because you're intentionally making millions of dollars off of it. So you put a lot of thought into that. Like who wakes up and says, "Oh, I want to traffic humans"? What? How does that happen? Like who taught you that shit? Did you watch that on TV? Like where did that come from?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a business, man, and humans are probably looked at as like products. That's the unfortunate part. It's all business. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, just like they say people are harvesting organs, you know, it's all kind of things that people are saying that's out there, but it's all a business. It's all a market. You know, why would you get up and smoke crack? You shitting me? Why are you smoking crack? But you know what I'm saying? It's a market, man. You know, I'm not agreeing with it or any of that. I'm just saying, you know, there's some cruel and some evil people out there, but it appears to be if there's a market for it, somebody's gonna find a way to, you know, to supply and to provide, you know, to that demand. So I just say, just educate people, you know, look out for one another. You know what I'm saying? If you know what's going on out there, you should probably be talking about it more. And we know it's happening. I mean, when we were kids, used to be people on the back of a milk carton. You know that, you know, all those type of things. TV show called Adam. You know, the first kid probably got abducted at the mall. Remember, stuff like that we used to be worried about. We go to the mall, be 5, 6, 7 of us. Make sure we roll in packs. Make sure, you know, hey, make sure the last person, don't leave till the last person, you know, leaves. You know, little tips like that, you can help out on how to, you know, look out for each other. But again, the give a shit factor has to be there too. So everybody has to do their part.
My final thoughts on this whole thing is prayers up for the people that's missing. Be alert, be aware, be conscious. Stop being so comfortable. And like you said, we need this community to come back together again. We need to start taking accountability. I can even say, you know, I don't even be into politics like that. So when they unleash all of these laws and they start switching up stuff, I can't really be upset. Part of me knows that, well, if I was aware of what was going on, then I could have more of a say so in what they're doing, and I could spread information to other people that would also help contribute to maybe stopping or preventing these things from being carried out. So a lot of what we see is due to us not really participating enough, and we have to address that too. So,
man, freaking excellent point on accountability and awareness, because if you aren't aware, you can't educate somebody on something, right? So that's going to take away from the credibility of probably topics that you try to speak on, but you shouldn't speak on. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that information, knowledge is power. So you can't necessarily educate that group, you know, on that topic, man. So that's why, yeah, you got to get educated, or you don't have to know everything. Just know the right people. You know what I'm saying? If that's not one of your strong points, the point about accountability is you identify and you know that. So you're not trying to know everything, but knowing the right people is equally as good, and it's actually better because, like I mentioned, you know, in another pod, subject matter experts, man, get them, have them come in and speak on your behalf. That's why you have guest speakers. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have keynote speakers. You know, but make sure you do your due diligence. And they're not just people that's, you know, do as I say, not as I do, because then it goes back to the credibility piece. But yeah, you don't have to know everything, man. Just know when it's time to call somebody. Know your limitations, right? And that's what happens, man, is when people step outside of their limitations, they start trying to do too much, spreading too thin, and then people can see that you may or may not be as educated or knowledgeable. And that's probably why, again, remember I said is sometimes the messenger, not the actual message. So yeah, just getting the right person to come in the room and have that conversation. And then people will respect you even more for that. And then that's also a good way of showing leadership is, again, knowing your limitations.
Exactly. Real spill. I want to shout out everybody who pulled up this morning. I'm glad we had this talk. It's not the first and it's not the last one. The next time we spin the block on this one, I would love to bring some more here for y'all, man. Because I'm all about growth and I'm all about learning. And just be safe. Be safe wherever you are right now and in the future, especially in December. Especially.
Facts.
People wilding out now. I don't know why you would think December would bring people more into harmonious fine tuning. And no, it don't. People are crashing out. So y'all know it. Anyway, salutes to SM, Michelle Campbell, and everybody else who tapped in. Appreciate you, bro, for dropping in this morning. Sydney is on later. I'm going to get back in this lab, get some more work done over here. But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Oh, hold on. Is it here? Let me see something. Is it on this one? I don't know why it's specific. I might have to figure that one out. Real quick, let the people know how they can contact you.
Yeah, they can hit me up on the website. It's realorlive.org, or they can just shoot me a message, 210-724-4474, or find me on social media at Trailblaze. Good.
All right. Well, look, man, I'm gonna let you get back to your day, bro.
Yeah, man.
Y'all take it easy. You know how to reach me if you need to. Peace.
All right.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired as a friend on a slack for a week. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging